Hi guys, I believe I'm live. Let me know if I am. If there's anyone watching, you are watching the Universal show. I'm hoping this is working this time. It should be. I can't see why. Otherwise, Spirit are messing around with us tonight. Oh, we are live. We've got people coming in. Hi guys, the Universal show. We are live. We was live at 8 o'clock, believe it or not, but we had a bit of a weird situation going. I was running live, but nothing was happening.
Oh, yeah, now.
What's going on? Okay, guys, here you all come. This is the Universal show. I am Grant Coyler, and it's live 8 o'clock on a Sunday evening. And you know, with this show that I talk about different situations of the spirituality. We talk about the tarot deck, mediumship. Well, tonight we're talking trance mediumship, transfiguration mediumship. We're talking about spirit that come in and transfigurate the energy of our aura field and enter and be able to talk and come for us. Now, who can I ask? Even who else would I have in the studio that can do this? No one better than this lovely lady here. Now, I've known Elaine 8-9 years now, and I can remember being taken to Elaine's house and watching Elaine go into trance for the first time. And all I can say is, wow. Now, I've worked around a lot of psychics and mediums and trance energy over the years with my work. But for me, this lady is unbelievably talented and incredible. And I say talented because trance isn't an easy area to work with when you're working with spirit. You know, I work with spirit, and that's hard to work with on its own. But when you go into trance, it's not an easy thing to do. It takes a lot of energy and takes a lot of time. And I watch Elaine work, and she goes into trance pretty damn quick. It takes a while for you to get down in that energy and that energy to come forward. So it shows you how good a connection she's got with her guy Jonathan, and we'll talk about Jonathan in a minute. You guys don't even know who Jonathan is, but you're going to find out, because Jonathan is going to speak for Elaine in a little while. And you're going to be able to experience Elaine being taken over by Jonathan's energy. And we'll talk a bit about who Jonathan is in a minute, and a little bit about who Elaine is in a minute, and find out as I interview her. But you're going to see something absolutely incredible tonight. Now, I know we've got a few people coming in that just want to say hello. We've got Sam Hench, we've got Hilary Adams. Hilary Adams says, hello Grant, hello Elaine. We've got Tasha saying, looking forward to this fantastic show. We've got Sarah Marie back saying, hi Grant, hi Elaine. We've got Sarah Madison saying, fantastic. We've got Tina Elliott joining us. Sharon Smith, there's people joining us, Elaine. And they're all wanting to know a little bit about you. So let me find out a little bit about Elaine Thorpe before we talk about what you do with trance mediumship. So Elaine, we were talking earlier on, and I know that your father was a very big trance medium. So is this something you saw as a child? Did you see him do a lot of trance?
I did. From the age of 15,
yeah.
I used to sit every now and again in his circles, and they'd darken the room. And the first time I sat, they had the trumpet in there, which is an luminous painted cone. It can either be made of card or metal, but this was like a steel one. Yeah. And it placed in the centre of the room with all of the toys and bits at Christmas time. And I was able to kind of sit. So we all gathered in, and we all left our handbags and things in the other room. And of course, in those days, you didn't have any mobile phones, so we didn't have to worry about any of that. So we all went in, and I was told that not to touch the trumpet, let it touch you, and not to make any, turn the lights on or anything like that, or get out of your chair unless there's an absolute emergency, and they'd stop the circle, bring the medium back. But then they used to play two lots of music, which one was Enya, and the other one was an Irish singer. Yeah. And within minutes he'd be gone, and then all of a sudden the trumpet would raise up. And it would start to go to people, and it would start to spell things in the air. And we used to have my mum interpreting that, spelling things out. And sometimes she'd have to say to them, slow down, not so fast. And then we'd have Mickey, Leslie Flint's guide, come into our sample. And we also had Baron von Richthofen and Albert.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, all of them would come in, they'd have direct voice. Apparently, my dad said that in the recording afterwards, his aunt used to work in a railway station cafe, and you could hear the plates and cups rattling.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It's incredible, you know. And
so, as a child growing up and seeing your father do this, did you have a sense and feeling that you had that connection at that early age?
No, nothing. Nothing at all. But I felt comfortable sitting in amongst it all. It just felt.
So you wasn't scared by the process. You looked at the process and felt fascinated. Yeah.
When I first sat, I was a little bit apprehensive. I thought there's got to be a hand on the end of that. There's got to be somebody holding that.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, well, if there is, it would cover the luminous paint at the other end of the trumpet.
That's right. Yeah.
There was nothing.
No.
The whole thing was lit up, and all I could see was like an emerald mist.
And let's explain to the guys, because what was happening in trance years ago was in a darkened room, and the trumpet was luminous. So basically what you see is the trumpet dancing in the air or moving around. So you're just getting a little bit of a concept of how it works. And a lot of the trance mediums were sitting in like a box with a red light at that time, wasn't they? Was they doing that? Was your father doing that?
No, it was dark black in there, and with what I saw, there was no way a man is 50 back then could run around the room and do that at such speeds. The trumpet would move and do patterns at such speeds, it wasn't humanly possible to do it.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I've seen some amazing stuff and footage on trance mediumship, and it is quite remarkable. It really is. So your father was a trance medium for 30 odd years, was it?
Yeah, over 30 years.
Wow.
He must be sat every week, and he had a trip he was invited to Iceland, and I think he did a demonstration for over 100 people.
Wow.
And unbeknown to him, they put a red light, which was put on when he went into the state, and still the trumpet went up in the air.
Was there any signs of any ectoplasm or anything with your father?
He was never photographed.
Yeah.
But when I saw the trumpet, there used to be like an emerald mist attached to it.
Yeah.
It was kind of like smoke kind of thing.
It's quite weird because a lot of people ask me this question. It was something that Spirit said to me quite a while ago, that trance medium has advanced a hell of a lot over the years within certain, within the way Spirit connect with us. And one of the questions I asked when I had trance myself, that I'd never had any ectoplasm come out. But what I've noticed is that I started to get runny nose. Yeah. And I get that through my readings today. Sometimes I feel that energy coming in, but I get like a bit of a snotty nose. And I think, is that the start of the trance and the ectoplasm coming out? But they said, and when I asked the question to Spirit, they said it advanced a lot, where we don't need to use the use of ectoplasm anymore. Is that something that you had sort of experienced with your work?
I think they probably use a certain amount more for physical.
Yeah.
But with trance, there would only be like a small amount of it. I should think, and be visible. You would probably wouldn't see it in the light. It might be in a more dimmed light, a red light. I'm not sure if they use any of that.
But this is the same question I asked, because I was asking, well, why is that? Because the Spirit was saying to me, well, we're more advanced now. We can go, higher energies now, like yourself and like where I've been with my work, but it's not needed within that energy. We can go into trance in a normal day right now with lights on, so we don't need that energy now. So it has changed a hell of a lot. Now I'm just going to go back to see who we've got in. We want people to get involved. And hi guys, and thanks for joining us. We've got Jessica Brown just joined us. We've got Sean Ellie joined us. We've got Simon Peters, which I do believe is a lovely medium somewhere up north. I believe that he's wrote a few books as well. So it's nice to have you, Simon, join us. We've got Michael Hodges and we've got John Nugent joined us as well. Shelley Polson, loads of people joined us. If you've got any questions for Elaine, please feel free to type into the message box and ask any questions you want about her mediumship and Jonathan and Karen. We haven't spoken about Karen yet, but we'll talk about Karen. There are not many people who see Karen come forward, but we are going to get her to come forward later on in the show. But we will speak to Jonathan first when he comes in. So keep your eyes peeled, guys. This is going to be an incredible show with the lovely Elaine Thorpe. Now, Elaine, you've been extremely busy recently. I mean, when I met you 8-9 years ago, there was that side of you that I could see was going about to explode. And I think that at some point back, quite a few years ago, I said to you, I can see it's going mad for you.
Yeah,
and it has, isn't it? Yeah. It's just literally exploded. And recently, with the with the trance mediumship, you're everywhere now. I mean, I've been seeing you going off all over the place, demonstrations here, there, everywhere, all over the country. What's life been like in the last sort of 2 years? I mean, it's just gone mad.
It has gone mad. I think it's after the third live I did, Jonathan said, we have to take this further now. We cannot keep it in a little room every week. We have to take it out there to the masses. And this is what will be. This is what is to be. He said, I don't want you to feel forced to do it, but this is the destiny. That's right. I said, well, okay, as long as you look after me and help me, that's fine. I'll go where you want.
Exactly. Why not?
So he took it out to the masses, and I thought, well, this is crazy, you know. Well, let's do this. And I was really sure, you know.
I mean, it's incredible. I mean, like I said, I met you at that time, and I saw a fantastic trance medium, and now I can see where you were going. I was being told what was happening to you, and this feeling of realization of understanding that where you are now is incredible. But I'm jumping the gun because we went back to your father. We talked about where he was and how long he was a trance medium. When did it start for you? When did it start to open up and you had this connection with the spirit entering your aura of it?
It started 14 years ago.
Wow.
Back in 2005. I went to a hotel in Ireland and I was quite missing my ex-husband's father because I was devastated when he passed away.
Uh-huh.
And he had been shown a lot of things in the house going on, turning radios on and off and things, and we all saw him in the doorway and such. And so we decided to go back to Ireland and see his family and remember him, you know. And I said to him, look, it's our last night at the hotel. The kids are in bed over there. We're in bed here. We're about to go to sleep. I said, can you not show me anything? You know, my husband didn't believe in it. So I thought, well, I'll say it quietly in my own mind, and I said, please, you know, I really miss it. And I thought, well, nothing's going to happen, so I'll just drift to sleep. So I lay on my stomach, and it was really weird. It's like, just from nowhere, my stomach pulled in the bed, and it was like that. And I remember him saying, son, I tried to love you, and that was all I caught of it. It seemed very, very quiet, like a whisper. But my son said, no, Mum. No, it was so loud. It was so loud. He said, we couldn't make out what he was saying. I said, well, I knew what he was saying. It was kind of, and then, of course, their dad said, you know, what's the matter with you? Are you sleep talking or something? I said, I don't know. I've got a clue.
So, I mean, at this point, you're not thinking, oh, I'm a trance medium, are you? You're just sitting there thinking, what's happening at the moment? I'm starting to pick up on this energy, what I'm feeling, and I'm starting to hear things and feel this energy coming.
Yeah, that's right.
So at that point of when that happened, how quick did it progress to the point of where you were within it starting to come in and the energy starting to take over the transfiguration?
Well, I phoned up Jean Kent.
Yeah.
You must know her.
I've heard of the name, yes, I know, I've heard of it. I hear a lot of people's names. I don't know them personally, but I do know, I've heard of them.
Jean Kent, yeah. I'm not sure that she's passed away. She used to know my mum and dad very well.
Right, okay.
And so I phoned her in a sort of panic-stricken state and said, well, what's this? I said, and she said, it's trance.
Right.
I said, what's trance? Because I said, Dad never explained anything to me by the way.
Yeah.
So she said, well, it's where the spirit guide comes and connects with you and speaks. I thought, spirit guide? Okay. So she recommended me to a lady called Kay. And I thought, okay, I'll go and I'll go to the meditation group. Well, I went to the meditation group.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, I'm not sure if I like this controlled meditation. I've never done this in my life.
Yeah.
So I sort of went away and went back and went along to one of the trance evenings that Kay was doing. And she said, right, we're all going to sit and put the music on and we'll see what happens. And where you have, and I thought, okay, well, I've never done this before, but I don't really know much about what to talk about. I thought, well, I'll just relax. Next minute, you know, I feel my whole body tighten up. I thought, what is this? You know, I felt my face one side drop, and he said, I'm George, and I thought, really, George? I don't know George. Yeah. And they said that my face had kind of dropped down this side, and it looked like he'd had a stroke. And I thought, oh, his body must have felt really like tight and uncomfortable because he was. And I thought, right, that's it. I said, if you're going to come through, then please don't give me your ailments because I don't want to feel like that again.
And normally they do, don't they?
Yeah. And you know, I have no memory who came through after that. No, I can't remember anymore.
I think it's because I think you always remember your first experience, don't you? I think, well, you know, I can always remember as a child being visited by this lovely lady. I lived in a very old farmhouse that dated back way before the First World War. And it was a cookhouse for a manor house that was bombed in the Second World War. And this lady used to come, I mean, I remember her vividly. But there have been times through my early stages of my mediumship that you do forget the ones that do visit. And, you know, half of it I probably wouldn't have even remembered because I don't even remember half the stuff that was happening. My mum used to walk in and go, what have you done to your bedroom? It's upside down. And I go, I don't know, I don't recall it. So, you know, we do sort of remember the ones that stand out, don't we? Yeah. But obviously, Jonathan stands out. But was Jonathan, I know you've got Jonathan and Karen, but which one of them was the ones that come through first and connected with you first?
Well, Karen came through in my house on a tape recorder.
Yeah.
I went out of the house when my daughter was little, and I asked the house to be protected. And I left one of them old-fashioned tape recorders on.
Yeah.
Clean tape, nothing on it. And come back, there was all sorts on it. It was like they'd speeded up the tape in their dimension and speeded up their voice, and then somebody went, I thought, who the heck is in my house? And this is weird. And then you could hear all sorts of footsteps and things coming. Yeah. And then so I thought, I'm going to try this again. And I said, please God protect my house. And I turned the tape over and used the fresh side. So come back home and I thought, oh, it's like a white noise. But I'll persevere. About 3/4 of the way through the tape, I heard someone call out, Louise, Louise boy. And I thought, I used to call my daughter Louise.
Wow.
Now, she's Louise, but I call her Louise. And but she said boy because maybe she was like tomboy. And then I heard her playing like sounding like toy drums in her bedroom. I thought, wow, that's my twin. My twin's in the house. Oh my goodness. And my son's seen her as well. My daughter's seen her. They used to always see her. And I never saw her. So I guess she kind of came on the scene first. She didn't come through me in trance first, I don't think. But then Jonathan showed himself to me in my friend's house. I went in there and she said, can you show me your trance? So I said, oh, I'm not so sure. I've only been doing it a few months. She said, oh, please, go on. It's only us here. My friends are gone. I said, all right. I said, but you have to bring me back when you feel you've had enough. Well, I can't remember a single thing of what came through first.
Wow, so that's quite a deep trance.
And then all of a sudden, I remember Jonathan. He said, hello, I'm Jonathan, and I'm Elaine Spirit Guide. I thought, oh, God, my whole body just lit like a lighthouse. It was like, wow.
Because it must be, you know, a lot of people won't understand how that feels. I mean, it's like somebody asking me, how does it feel to be a medium as a general? But it must have been quite weird to for that first strong link of taking you and not remembering must have been quite a daunting feel to start with. Did it feel quite scary?
No.
No, you felt at peace.
I just felt so natural to it.
Yeah.
It just happened, and I thought, well, you know, it just.
But we haven't explained much about Jonathan's connection with you. We'll talk about that in a minute. But did you feel that sense of that love and that connection instantly? Yeah. And I know that's how I feel when I'm working with Michael, and Michael can come and I can feel that energy on that level. And it's no different, guys. You know, I work with Michael, he's my guide, he works on the outside of my energy, and I can talk to him and have that conversation. Where what Jonathan's doing, he's making that connection, but what he's actually doing is coming through Elaine. And he's using her as a channel, where I use Michael within that energy as being the channel, as listening and giving that information. So it works very similar, but very different, if that makes sense. But so you've built this love. Now, obviously, we don't really know much about Jonathan, and we want to talk a little bit about him because he's an amazing character, and I've had the privilege to meet him a few times now. And we're going to meet him again in a minute, so I can't wait because it's been a long time since I've spoken to Jonathan. But Jonathan had a connection with you in a previous life, didn't he? And can you explain a little bit about that connection with Jonathan?
Well, the connection was that he spoke to me and he said,
yeah,
you were with me in a past life, and your name was Mary Ann Ellsworth. You were 10 years my junior, and you came in from up the north to work in London and to be the maid in the house along with others. And we were kind of kept in separate quarters from the men.
I'm going to stop her because before we come on, I had Jonathan come. We was having a chat, wasn't we?
Yeah.
And I thought he said Miriam. It wasn't. It was Mary Ann. He was trying to give me that, and he's just giving me that as I'm talking to. See, this is the beauty thing, so. And I'm sorry to interrupt, Elaine, but I remember I first met him. He said, "Oh, can you see him?" And we had that conversation. I said, "There he is," and he was like, "Oh my God, that's him." But I just had to mention that because it was like he's so incredibly there for you. It's amazing. And anybody that doubts anything within this, I've got to tell you, I can back that up within what we've never met before, have we? We've gone through that, and everything that I said it's literally backed up by what knowledge she already had of Jonathan. And I'll tell you what, it's incredible that you got that as well, because again, you know, you can look at this work, we look at our work, we're human beings. We know what we get. We can judge that energy through our workings and dealings of spirit. To get that back up is amazing. And again, he did that again tonight. So that was really good. But sorry, come back. So with Jonathan, you had that connection in the previous life. I'm really excited. You can see the excitement on my face, Elaine.
Hello, Martin.
But Jonathan was not very old when he passed. He did have a connection with you in that previous life, and that connection was very special, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very deep, you know. At first, if I hadn't met him, I wouldn't have known, but when he came through that first time, it was just, you can't describe the love. It's indescribable.
You can't, and I'm going to tell you this now. I have Jonathan with me, and I can feel his energy. So when he's coming in, I'm feeling his energy. And I can tell you now, I know that there was such a feeling of sadness around the energy of not having this connection in that life. And there's a rawity there that I can feel the emotion as we're talking about it, that there's tears in my eyes within that emotion. Because imagine loving somebody that you could never have or never open up to within that energy. That's exactly what he was going through in that previous life, wasn't it? It was sheer raw emotion of something that you know that you can't have because it would have been wrong to have it. But secretly you had that love for each other. And in certain respects, there was that feeling of respect within that energy from Jonathan as well, but he never stepped over the mark. And there would be intimate times of connection, but there was that feeling that he couldn't take it any further than that, did he?
No, he couldn't.
And that's a really sad thing. That must be really upsetting for you, to go through this life, having a connection with Jonathan that comes in, and I suppose in some respects you can't ask for a better connection, Elaine, because the thing is with it, you trust his energy to come and work through you all the time.
I do.
And that's an amazing thing. But I find it so fascinating that your guide is somebody that, one, is an intelligent guy, really intelligent, one that is very loyal in the fact that he never lets you down. And I've never seen him be so methodical within the energy of the message and the way that he comes across. Truly fascinating. Now, I'm a medium, guys. Now, I hope you guys are excited, because I'm a medium and I get fascinated by watching Elaine. Keep watching. Just keep watching, because what you're about to see will just blow your mind, and it really will. And I know that her work with Jonathan blows a lot of people's minds. If this is your first time, you're going to see Jonathan come through Elaine in a minute. Now, I want to come back to Jonathan, because I don't like to interrupt. I really want to find out a lot more about this man. So when obviously you've spoken to Jonathan or had this message come through about a lot about him, how old were you when you knew Jonathan in that life?
Not all of it comes back to me, but I probably would have been in my 20s.
Yeah, because he roughly died in his 40s, didn't he? Yeah. So he was about 10 years older.
Yeah.
So you would have been around about your late 20s, and he would have been coming in his early 40s. So that would have been about right. And the thing is with it, it's weird, guys. I'm sitting with Elaine, and I'm lost in my thought, because that's Jonathan's energy around, and I feel that energy. But that connection is, you can't explain the connection you guys had. You must, and I know that for you, you grieve in this life for him. You grieve, and that energy of connection is so hard to explain. And it must be very hard to explain when you're in your own personal life of life. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
To have a man that you had this connection with, this love for in a previous life, to where it is in this life. How do you deal with that from day to day?
Well, I know that I've always got him. I would absolutely love to see him physical, which I almost did once, going into a sort of relaxed state. And as soon as I saw him, I kind of panicked in the place that I was in and pulled myself out of it.
Yeah.
I have seen him in dream state very briefly, and he looks exactly as you described him. Tall, very combed down hair, and tied at the back. But wow, it's just one smile.
The only way Michael described him when I saw him, he looks a bit like David Tennant. Doctor Who, David Tennant, he looks a bit like him. And that's the only, because I was looking at him, I'm trying to describe him, who does he look like? And Michael went, doesn't he look like David Tennant? I mean, oh my God, he does. He really does. Not exactly, but he's got that chiseled feature look about him. Very handsome looking man, very tall, about 6'1", 6'2", very tall, very lean. But I can see why you had that connection with him in the previous life. I can see what the fascination was within that league. I can't wait to have a conversation on the other side of the coin with Jonathan later. But yeah, I mean, it's nice that you had that in that life, and you've got that in this life as a connection with him. Like you said, it is very hard. I mean, it's like when I have Michael there. Wouldn't it be nice to have them on the physical for a day with you?
It would.
Just to go through that and think, what the hell would that be like? Because they are your best friend, your lover, I suppose, if it's in a previous life. They are a massive part of our lives.
They are.
Like I said earlier on, I was talking about, I'd be lost without Michael. If Michael was to disappear tomorrow, I don't think I'd be able to carry on.
No, I don't think I would either. But they've got me through a lot in my life, a hell of a lot. Yeah.
It's an incredible thing, because they do empower you as well, don't they? I mean, you know, our work to help others is as much to help us as well. And I think our guides are a big part of that. Now, I know that Jonathan obviously comes through and talks a lot about things. I mean, you do readings with Jonathan. Jonathan talks to you and gives people readings as well.
Yeah.
And he talks about, obviously, their future and their past and bits and pieces. So, if anybody's got a question on that level, ask Jonathan later on, because he will be able to maybe give you a message or two. So don't disappear, don't go anywhere, stay with us on the Universal Show and see what Jonathan's got for you. But that's great, because obviously he's in the spirit world. He knows what's going on, like Michael does. He can give you stuff for the future. But, you know, he does that as well. Does he talk about the other side a lot? Does he talk about the dimensional energy? Karen's coming in, is she?
So she's just behave herself.
It's all right, you'll see Karen later on. She's destined to jump in. Maybe we should just get her in to do her bit and then go.
Yeah. Oh dear.
But Jonathan, because he's very knowledgeable. Obviously, he's on the other side.
Yeah.
But he was a very knowledgeable man, I think, in life, wasn't he? I believe that he was somebody that was quite what's the word? Methodical about life. I think he enjoyed life, didn't he? From what I can work out with him, his energy of when I've spoken to him.
He did. I don't think he saw completely eye to eye with his father.
Yeah.
Although I think he probably loved him, but he didn't see eye to eye with him.
Yeah, I get that feeling that there was an energy of that I don't know, sort of clash within that energy.
Yeah, he was more for his mother than he was for his father. I seemed quite wanting to be close to her.
Was his father quite strict, do you think?
Well, they probably would be in that
would have been in that time, I would have thought. Yeah, I mean, what time period are we looking at with Jonathan? Like 1800s?
Yeah.
Was that like 1880 something?
1845 was born up until 1891.
Oh, okay.
So just before the 46th birthday, yeah.
Oh, okay. So all around about the mid to late 1800s.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's why I see the way he's dressed, because it's that late 1800s sort of look, isn't it? That Victorian feel. Do you understand what I mean? But yeah, so it's quite interesting. Now, what we're going to do in a little while, guys, is allow Elaine to have a couple of minutes peace while we bring Jonathan forward. Are you all ready to bring him in, or is Karen wanting to come forward first?
Oh, she can behave.
Well, what we'll do
They're all here.
They're all there. What we'll do is we'll see who comes forward first, and we'll have a little chat with whoever comes in, either Karen or Jonathan, and see where we go from there. So, guys, what we're going to do is just go quiet for a minute. I'm going to look down the list while Elaine rests her energy. Grabs herself a glass of water before she starts, because she'll probably need a little bit of water before she starts and after. Be patient, guys, because this does take a couple of minutes for Elaine to bring them in. And I'm looking forward to speaking to Jonathan, so I'll let you be at peace for a minute, Elaine.
Okay.
And away we go.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello, Jonathan. Nice that you joined us at last. It took a little while there to come in, my friend.
Yes.
And how are you doing this evening?
I am perfectly fine, thank you.
Oh, we're honoured to have you on the Universal show, my friend. And I know that I saw you standing over at my doorway earlier on.
It's rather a nice way to present oneself.
It certainly is. Now, Jonathan, I have met you a few times before. I hope you remember me.
I do.
Oh, good. And I know that probably my guide Michael is around in the ether somewhere as well with you.
Yes, he is to the right of you.
He certainly always is. Jonathan, it's a pleasure to have you on the show, and thank you for coming. And you are a very knowledgeable man with your work that you do from the other side of this dimension. Now, I've been talking to Elaine before you come in, and obviously talked a little bit about yourself. But could you explain to everybody a little bit about who you were and where you come from when you was on the Earth plane?
Well, of course, they all know me as Jonathan, and that is who I was, Jonathan Hunter. And of course, I am from the 1800s. So I would say that in my day, I lived in Islington, in London, Highbury. And I was born in Rose Cottages, as I had previously mentioned to Elaine, which no longer exists. But then I was married in St. Mary's Church in Islington, which was bombed in the Second World War, just to leave a small part of the previous church that was there, and then it was rebuilt again. And so therefore it has changed quite a bit in the way of the set out of the windows and such. There was much more light coming into the place. But that is where I was married.
Okay, well that's quite an interesting story, because the thing is with it, and what I love about the energy is your knowledge of the other side. I know that you've been over for quite a while now. I mean, when was it? What year was it you passed, Jonathan?
1891.
Okay, and how? I don't like to ask this of anybody that's died quite tragically. How was it that you passed over, Jonathan?
I passed with a heart attack.
Oh, bless your heart.
Street.
Oh, bless your heart. And was conditions and hard at that time dealing with that sort of effect within the energy of health and things?
I do believe that you are very fortunate today with your doctors and nurses that can save people's lives. But in our day, we had a certain amount of knowledge, the doctors and the nurses, but they didn't have the advanced technology that you had. And so some of the diseases weren't really understood or known about, and there weren't any cures for them. So many people passed away unnecessarily, but of course, everything has advanced since then.
Yeah.
And many people can live longer lives if they're saved, but not everybody, of course. But I would say that this was coming without warning, because I didn't have any scans or anything like you have today. I had no signs of it.
Hopefully it was a peaceful transition for you, Jonathan, and it wasn't too overbearing pain.
There was pain, yes. There was quite an immensity of pain. But I did feel a blackout, and then all of a sudden I found myself outside of my physical body looking down at it.
Oh, wow.
It didn't look too well.
I can only imagine. Jonathan, I think a lot of people will ask in the physical dimensions here on Earth, what is the transition like when we leave the Earth plane? Is it as daunting as a lot of scriptures have talked about? Is there they talk about the white light and the tunnel of light? Is that something we experience?
Well, the majority of you do, yes. You do experience a very warm, bright light. And to you on Earth, it would probably seem like a bright ball, but it is very warming and comforting. And there is so much love. And the first soul that I saw was my grandmother. She was very beautiful. She was looking very well, and I thought, well, you have passed away. And I said to her, I believe that I have left my body, and she said, well, it's time for you to come home, Jonathan. Take my hand. And she led me to the light. That is so beautiful.
That's amazing. It's nice that your grandmother was there to greet you on the other side. Right. Is there layers of dimensions, or is there just the one energy of the dimension that you go to?
Well, it is a dimension in your eyes, but I will explain it as realms, you see.
Yes.
And you are on the physical realm. This is literally a realm that you are in. You are in an existence that is a realm, but it is a physical realm. And through each lifetime, you will further your soul's journey. You will ascend further into the higher realms of spirit. Now, we're not saying that anyone is lower or higher than another, but you have learned about unconditional love in many ways and awakened yourself, perhaps spiritually, in one particular lifetime. And you will come to be ascending further. So the more knowledge of unconditional love and experience of unconditional love that you have in the physical life, then that will help you to ascend your soul. So that then you become pure light, pure source, which is what you are in spirit. You are a being of light.
Absolutely. I mean, on the physical, we are a spiritual energy, aren't we? So we are in the physicality of a spiritual energy, but we're just transitioning over to the non-physical. Is that correct?
That is right.
Absolutely. So, for the time, there's a lot of talk about time difference in our slow vibrational time to the energy of the other realm that you're in, Jonathan. When it comes to the physics of that, how does that work? Is it quite in depth?
Well, I would say everything is sort of a molecule, isn't it?
Yes.
You see, and everything of physicality is made up of molecules. You look at water, it is made up of, you call it O2, and water, molecules, several millions of molecules which join together to make one large-looking molecule, which is just a drip of water.
That's it.
And if you could analyze that, you would have the total density of explanation of what water is. So if you imagine the mass of water, and that is perfectly visible, you see, and that's millions and trillions, and I would say going beyond that, in a way of a mass of water that is coming together as a collective molecule. So you are what you call, and I would describe the human perhaps as a collective molecule, because you are made up of flesh and blood and nerves and brain cells and what have you.
And this is why I've got Jonathan on the show today, because Jonathan is such obviously he's got the knowledge, he's on the other side, so, you know, he's brilliant for it. And this is what I talk about all the time, making people understand. It's very hard for the human brain, isn't it, Jonathan, to understand the concept of the dimensional energy and how things are when we go back through into that universal link.
Yes. I would say that you are a spirit inside the physicality, inside a physical body.
Yeah.
You see, and it is perfectly synchronized in order to survive through life, in order for the logic state of mind, the ego state of mind, and the subconscious state of mind, and the spirit state of mind, which is the higher self, and the intuitive self. So you have all of those states of mind, you see, and they will name them as stages and all sorts of states of mind that you are going into.
Okay, so Jonathan, I know you met up with your grandmother when you went over to the other side. Do we meet up with every single layered energy of connection through our family unit, or do we dismiss, or sometimes we mismatch the energy of where the dimensional connection lies?
Well, we will choose to meet who we would mostly be close to, but if you wanted to see perhaps who you were in a past life or who your family were in another lifetime, you could instantly come to meeting them. You see, you are all energy.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter who you were, you will reincarnate into a full circle, and you will come back into many people's lives that you were connected to in past lives and have instant recognition of them when you come to this life, you see. This is recognition of the soul looking at another soul and how this soul knowing. And so you will incarnate together in many different lives in order to help another ascend through to the higher realms of spirit. and another will incarnate purposely to help each other overcome a certain discrepancy of perhaps a fear or a trauma or an emotional disagreement with one another, and they will try to overcome it in each lifetime, you see, so they will meet again. And then you may get people that really don't resonate with you in life, but they have been brought into this life purposely to teach you something about gaining inner strength and inner confidence about you and your life, and not letting anything hold you back.
Absolutely, absolutely. Do you find, I mean, I've been working with my guides for a long time, and you probably know this already by having connection with Michael on the other side. Now, obviously, with Elaine, what you do is you're able to talk about people's futures and give future readings and things. When we talk about timelines, obviously, Michael's explained to me there is no time when we're in that energy. We make up a time when we're in this physicality of this dimension or this realm. So when Michael's explained to me about going forward, that you guys, when you pass from the non-physical, can be at any time point, hence the reason where clairvoyance comes in. Is this correct?
Yes, we can. We can bilocate, you see, because we are just consciousness. And you are a consciousness within a physical. So you can bilocate your thoughts as a consciousness within, but your physical body can only ever be in one place at any given time. So yes, we can bilocate, and we can join you at any time that you need us to be there. We do not rely upon time like you do here, linear time. We can join you. We see a light, and then you invite us into that, and we come and join you and connect with you. But we are going to need to slow down our vibrations, you see, because we have no limitation of physicality. And therefore, this physicality can be something of a limitation sometimes, because you want to be in several places, but you do not want to be here, you see. You want to be in another place. So you can be there in your thought, but not in your physical, whereas we are just consciousness.
Now, obviously, as living in this dimensional energy of this realm, obviously our future isn't held into something that's concrete. We have free will and choice. But obviously, as a guiding energy, as coming forward and giving guidance, you're able to give the amount of what you can give, isn't that correct? We're not allowed to give everything within that energy, even if there's an energy of a viewpoint towards a final destination. Would you understand that what I'm trying to put over, Jonathan, is that there's a link within the energy of only giving so much detail to a reading?
We will not, we will only ever give what is needing to be given.
Exactly.
And we will give it to you even if you do not like it. It has to be said. We will give you the truth. Sometimes it hurts, but it will do you right in the end, I will say. It will bring you to a better place.
Absolutely. And you guys on the other side as guides are amazing guys to be able to give enough. And I think that the trouble is on the human, we're a little bit too greedy, aren't we, as human beings, to want and expect too much.
Yes, I would say you're not greedy, but you are curious.
Exactly.
Curiosity is the key, isn't it? You want to know more. Once you experience one thing, you want another and another and another. But that is the curious physical mind. It is sort of taking itself into another realm. It is going to be very inquisitive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, Jonathan, we have got a few people that's going to be coming in and asking you a few questions. But I want to ask you this question before I go to the message board to find out who and what questions they've got for you. Is there a concept of knowledge from your side that you may have to walk, or you will be walking the earth plane again?
Well, I have not yet decided. Of course, I'm not going to desert Elaine because I'm going to her. But what I will say is, if need be, if I feel the need to incarnate, then that shall be.
And would you be, if you are to come back into the physicality, would there be a connection still with Elaine?
Of course. Yeah.
And how many times have you walked with Elaine?
I have walked with her many a time.
I can only
And
imagine.
I could say we lived a life in Ireland, a very short life, but it was
Oh, wow.
never really a long incarnation. It was only ever going to be short.
Yes.
But
do you feel that in time there may be a physical connection with you again?
it would be nice.
I can only imagine it would be. So, was you a father at all in your life?
No.
You wasn't. Oh, bless your heart. Okay. And how many siblings were you? Was you one of many?
I was one of two.
Okay.
Because my mother couldn't have any more children after having me. And of course, after having Jane, yes, my younger sister, I do apologize. But yes, I was first born, and then she was to decide whether or not she wanted any more, but then my sister Jane came.
Yeah.
And after that, yes, she was to have not any more children. So she was quite happy with the two of us. Normally, Victorian families would be quite large, you see. They would have several children. But in this case, my mother could only have two.
Oh, bless you. And your sister, did she pass before you or did she pass after?
No, she passed after.
She passed after you. So this was your younger sister. Oh, bless her heart. Is she in spirit with you now?
Yes.
And you connect with her on that level?
I do.
Oh, bless your heart. That's nice to know. Okay, we've got a few people just joining us, Jonathan. So I'm just going to read back and everyone's just saying, welcome, Jonathan. Evening, Jonathan. Lovely to hear you again. And that's from Lucy Hogg. We've got Jean Blake saying, welcome, Jonathan. We've got Tina Elliott saying, do you get a choice when you start to pass over? Do you get? So I think what she's trying to say, Jonathan, is do you get the choice to stay, or do you get the choice, or don't you get a choice? You have to go.
Well, some people in life have near-death experiences.
Yeah.
And they are given that near-death experience in order to turn their life around and have a second chance. So they don't always join spirit as a permanency. They will come as a very short period of time and then go back and start to realize that there is an afterlife, and they will want to spread the news of it to the earth. But when your time is truly up, it is up, and you have chosen it as a soul. You have chosen your journey and everything that happens in it, what you will learn from it. And then you have chosen your time to go back. And there is nothing that anyone can do to stop that, because it is the end of the journey in the physical sense, but the soul will still live on.
And we've also got a question here from Tina Elliott saying, can spirit be with lots of family members on the earth plane all at the same time?
Yes, this is what I mentioned previously, where by location is concerned, we can be in several different places because we are consciousness. So we are the sort of a similarity to what you are as thought. You are thinking several different thoughts at any given time, and that is your consciousness. So we are only just consciousness without the physicality. So yes, we can bifurcate in several different thoughts and places at any given time.
And I know that Michael's talked about this energy that we can split. I mean, we're an energy at the end of the day, so we can be wherever you want to be at that multiple dimensional energy. I suppose you can be wherever you want to be. So yes, that totally backs up what Jonathan's saying about what Michael tells me about when people explain that. So it's great to have that second knowledge again from you, Jonathan, today. I'm not overruling Michael at all, bless him. But yes, it's nice to have Jonathan's knowledge come forward as well. This is great, and I'm loving you staying with us. Are you okay, Jonathan, holding the energy with Elaine for a while?
Yes.
Okay, that's brilliant. I like to, because obviously Jonathan's very understanding on Elaine's energy and staying with her, and it does take a lot of energy away. Okay, we've got quite a few people coming in there, Elaine. We've got Charlotte Pearson. Hello, Jonathan. Does anyone have a life review once they've reached the other side? Do they have a life review? Do they have to go back and look over their life?
Yes. Everybody looks over their life and every little thing that they have done. Like a little preconceived movie, so to speak.
Is that because this life is a test and we had to learn from it, so we had to look back over it to go forward into something else within another test?
Yes.
Okay, so there you go. So this is what we know, but this is nice to confirm from what Jonathan's saying, because at the end of the day, you're talking to the man direct on the other side. Okay, so we've got a few more coming here, Jonathan. We've got Laura Tansley. Do you know who's coming up to before they get there? Oh, right. Do you know who's coming up to the other side before they get there? As in, do they know that someone else is about to pass away, etc.?
Yes, we do, yes.
And is there a preparation for that in certain respects, Jonathan? What happens on that energy?
Well, you have a guardian angel.
Yes.
Each and every one of you have a guardian angel. And the guardian angel will be there with you to prepare you for your passing. And sometimes people pass in traumatic situations, and they have chosen very traumatic passings for the simple reason that somebody else is going to come as a greater mass and bring the love from the passing of that person, and bring plenty of other people together in order to prevent it happening again, so to speak. But you need to understand that in your world, life is like your batteries. Negative runs alongside positive, and sometimes it gets a little out of kilter. And so we are here to try and bring it back into balance.
Balance, yes. Absolutely.
So you cannot live a physical life without negative within it, unfortunately, because you would not learn anything from it. But you would say, well, how are we supposed to learn anything from these barbaric situations, Jonathan?
Absolutely.
And as I said, sometimes it gets a little out of kilter, and each soul has a progressive journey. They may come into this incarnation and have very much anger within them from the past life and bring it back into this life to learn something from it. They may do terrible atrocities.
That's it. Now, guys, stay with us. You can see how amazing Jonathan is as he comes forward through and using Elaine's energy to be able to get these messages of wisdom across for you about the afterlife. And obviously we will answer any questions. Now, Jonathan will be able to give you a reading as well. We'll do a short sessions with that. We won't hold Jonathan too long with Elaine, but we will want to stay with him for a little bit longer. Jonathan, am I right in saying that from what I've led to understand from the knowledge of spirit, that there is another higher level dimension above where you are?
Yes, there are many, many times.
That's it.
Yeah.
And governed by what we would class as a higher being energy.
Yes.
Okay. So what people have to understand is that when we go to the other side, it is not just that one dimension that we're sitting in. I suppose it's a bit like multi-universal energy, isn't it? It's the dimensions beyond dimensions.
That is right.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you for that, Jonathan. And just going to go back here and just see if we can get a few questions in as a few readings. I'm going to be cheeky with you, Jonathan, and use your energy to see if we can get a few questions answered by people. Is that okay? He's very happy to do that for a few people and just give a little bit of knowledge of their future. Okay, we've got Laura Tansley says, oh yes, I would love to have a reading with Jonathan, and that's for Laura Tansley, Jonathan.
Yes. Now with this lady, I'm tuning into her energy, so to speak, which is what we will tune into when we are going to give one a reading. And I will say that there is a situation, I want to say that there is going to be a little one arriving on the earth. And that is going to be within the 2-year period that this little one is going to arrive on the earth. And it's going to be a little boy.
Oh, bless.
And I would say he will be in the family. And a very sprightly little boy he will be too, quite spiritual and quite open about that sort of thing in the way that he will be able to experience as a young one, to see, to tell you things. But that is by the by. I will say that is in the future. But I will say to her that there seems to be a gentleman here for her, and he seemed to be quite a robust gentleman in the way that his personality was very strong in life. And I would say that there is going to the chest here, and there is also going to the tummy. Now, I want to say that this seems to be more of a grandfatherly type of person, and I want to put a cigarette in his mouth, and I want to say that he could be quite cheeky sometimes, you know, use the words that are sort of appropriate but not appropriate, if you see what I mean. But I am from a different era, of course, you need to understand. But yes, and she is studying, she is going to study something new, and she's going to find it quite innovative and very enjoyable, so to speak. So, well, yes, I will congratulate you previously before it begins, because I see that you will do well with that.
Oh, bless you. Thank you, Jonathan. And that was for lovely Laura Tansley. So, Laura, I hope you got that message from lovely Jonathan. And thank you again, Jonathan, for imparting your knowledge and your vision over the energy of our future. Okay, we have also had, let me have a little look down here. We've got Lucy Hogg would love a reading.
I'm the Lady Lucy. She's like Elaine's art.
Has Lucy come forward to your energy before? Do you have knowledge of her at all, Jonathan?
I do believe that Elaine has met her, so I have.
Oh, good.
Yes,
Okay.
she's a very spiritual lady, and I would say that there is going to be a little bit of teaching where she is concerned. She's going to gather people together more and do teachings and what you call classes, so to speak. But I think that she has a wonderful energy with her. She's very healing to the young people. She's very much connected to the young people. She likes to help them along, and sometimes she likes to mother them. And I see that also her good husband is very supportive of that, and very much a healer himself without he realizes it. I want to give her the name of Jones. You see the surname of Jones that she's going to meet is coming in, but there is going to be very much a busyness about her. And I see that with her businesses, I see that there are going to be discussions about bringing new ideas and innovations into that business, you see. So there's going to be a refreshment of the business. And I see it as being successful. And three of you are going to come together and talk about it. But yes, I see the sun. She's very much resonating with the energy of the sun, because I see a huge sunflower, a huge sun. And I think that she has something to do with the energy of the sun. She likes being in it. Who doesn't, I would say, but you know, there is something of a special connection with the energies of the universe with her. And she's very interested in the moon too. So there are connections with that. But this new business, this talk of this new business will come on the next new moon. Not this one, but the next one. So do look out for that.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jonathan. And there you go, Lucy. So Jonathan imparted his knowledge about where things are coming in for the future. Recognise what's going on around you and take note of the signs, okay? Because they're there for you in the future, my darling. So sometimes, you know, when we are imparting energy of knowledge from the other side, Jonathan, I know when I work with Michael, a lot of people forget about what they've been given and they only listen to half the message. But so I have to make sure that you guys are taking in everything. Make sure you've got a pen and paper with you. Okay, let's have a little look down here. Just want to say to you, there's a few people who are incredibly fascinated by you, Jonathan. One lovely lady here, and I can just scroll back up and have a little look, was Hilary Adams, and said she absolutely, oh my goodness, I could not believe that he has taken over her. That's amazing. So no one could actually believe that you just entered Elaine's body. That doesn't sound right, Jonathan, does it?
No,
but
I am standing in her energy.
You are standing in her energy. I put it over in the wrong way. That's my cheeky energy, Jonathan. I do apologise. I would have thought you would know me by now.
You do have a sense of humour.
I do have a very good but funny sense of humour. But we have Hilary Adams also saying, love this, the fantastic guy, interested about your social status before you passed. So what was your social status? What was it you actually did as in work?
Well, I was very much the horseman, you see.
Yeah.
And my father built up a business where we would hire the carriages, do funeral cortèges and all of that. And I would, as a young man, I would climb up on the deck with him and sit like on the parapet, you see. and learned to ride the horse, so to speak, with a carriage. Only a small carriage to start with, of course, but then it led to bigger. And then my father wanted his own business, so he built that up over a period of time, which became very successful. And then we would put the carriages out for the gentry, and we would have our own people to ride these carriages. So I no longer had to take part in that, although sometimes if somebody wasn't very well, I would take their place. But I was mostly doing the books towards the latter part of my life.
It's funny because before we started the interview, you've actually come into the energy of Elaine to communicate. I picked up this funny situation that I felt that you was trying to give me about a situation with either a horse standing on your foot or a carriage or a wheel going over your foot. What was that about?
Well, I do believe that one morning I was speaking to one of the people that were going to be going up on the parapet, and I was telling him where he was to go, you see. And then the horse sort of stepped forward to go. It was raring to go, and stood on my foot.
Did he break your foot?
It fractured.
It fractured it, did it?
So I was unable to walk for a period of time.
Oh, bless you.
Others would take over, but yes.
Yeah, you're sort of giving me that outside of Elaine. It was nice to hear coming directly from you. The story, because I couldn't quite work out what the message was that he was trying to give me. But yeah, that's in certain respects very funny, but must be very painful.
Yes, the commoners would run in front of the carriages sometimes, but so it was very hard to swerve a horse out of the way immediately.
Yeah. Did he damage your metatarsal? Is that correct?
I do believe I did, yes.
Yes. So I felt picking up that area at the top end of the top of the foot, near the ankle, right on that area.
Yes. It only lightly stood before it moved its hoof off.
Bless your heart. Was that quite a big horse, like a very big horse, or?
I do believe it wasn't. It wasn't a large horse.
It wasn't large.
Fortunate for me. But
big enough for you, Elaine, Jonathan. So I think I called you Elaine, Jonathan, because obviously a horse is a horse, and that's quite a bit of weight to come down on your foot. But unfortunately, that wasn't a nice thing, and that must have hurt quite a bit. And
well, it did somewhat leave me with a slight limp in life.
Did it really? Oh my
yes.
God! So it was quite a horrific injury.
Well, it wasn't horrific. It was very painful, but
yeah.
It wasn't a bad limp where I would require a cane to walk with, but on cold mornings, it would rather ache.
I can imagine. Oh my God, that must be terrible. Well, I do sympathise with you. Hopefully that pain's not with you in the spirit world, Jonathan.
No, it isn't.
Good. Okay, right. Just going to look back on the message board, Jonathan, as we stay with us. We just got Lucy Holt saying, thank you, Jonathan. Absolutely spot on. I just wanted to share that the Jones family has become part of the family through marriage. So there you go, Jonathan. She just wants to let you know that you already obviously knew that, but she just wants to say thank you for your corresponding message.
Wonderful lady, so thank you.
Okay, just going to look down and see what else we've got here. We've got Zoe Gordon here saying, what direction should I take further? Should I take further to my spiritual journey? That's for Zoe Gordon.
Well, I would say, again with her, there is a lot of messages coming to her. She's getting a lot of numbers, as many are doing at the present time. But I will say that she is leading into Reiki.
Okay.
There's Reiki healing with her. And I see her joining a classroom full of people, so to speak, and learning about this Reiki healing.
Wow. Do you think that's something that will progress more to anything, Jonathan, or is that where her main stem of energy is?
Well, that is where her main stem of energy is. But there is also an invention of what you call the energy centers, the crystal energy center things that she is going to create. And they will be sold on your wonderful internet, which is very innovative, I must say. But she is going to be doing that. And there will be other things that she will get involved in time. But one thing at a time. That is what I say. One thing at a time.
One thing at a time. So there you go, Zoe. if you're out there watching us still, because that message was back about 10 minutes ago. If you are still watching us, I hope you got that message.
I am to mention Paul to her, yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Okay, there you go, Zoe. Paul. Remember that name, it's important. Is that something for the future or is that for the past, Jonathan? Do we know?
Well, I do believe that he is in her life at present. Not as a relationship, of course,
no.
but I see a Paul around her. Yes.
Okay. Remember the name Paul, Zoe? That's interesting. Okay, right. Let's have a little look down here. This is again from Amelia Adams, who's very in-depth with her questions. You have mentioned guardian angels with higher realm, with the higher realm. Do the guardian angels seek guidance from archangels? If they are archangels, come through to you. Do archangels come through to you? Is this your guardian angel?
Well, you call them archangels, but they are just something that are depicted as that.
Yeah.
Angels are purified beings that are not needing to incarnate physically ever into the world because they stand next to what you call the higher power of God. And they are pure light. There's nothing of an arc there, but I would say that your guardian angel is sort of like a spirit guide to you. They are guardian angels as such, that some people are able to see these, and they are with you from start to finish of life. We will never desert you.
That's right, because these depictions of the archangel, they are a higher grade of being, aren't they,
yes.
from the energy?
Yes.
They're not so depicted as the lower angel, as in like yourself as a guide.
That is right, because we are, even as a soul, as a guardian, we are still ascending. We are still learning a great connection with your earth and how to blend with the physical being and how to send signs to your earth. So we are constantly learning.
Like we know that Elaine's an angel for doing this today and allowing you to come forward. So that's an amazing thing. We just can't see her wings yet, but I'm sure we'll see them on the other side, Jonathan. That's correct, isn't it?
I'm sure that we will, yes.
And I know that
a beautiful pair of wings you
and
have.
I was just about to say, he's going to come out with a very nice wave that he puts over a quip, and it was very well said, sir. So I congratulate you with staying on a tamer side within the energy of how I wouldn't be tamed with it. But yes, no, absolutely. She has got an amazing set of wings. You just can't see them yet, guys, but I'm sure that Jonathan sees them every day. Okay, we just want to say a few thank yous. Thank you from Zoe Gordon. Just wants to say thank you. We've got quite a few people joining us at the moment. We've got Pippa, we've got Chaz, we've got Jessica. Loads of people are coming forward wanting lots of messages. I just want to ask a few more questions, but I want to focus more on the energy of questions about the other side than readings at the moment, Jonathan, because I think it's quite fascinating to understand what goes on from the afterlife and the other side and the other dimension. And Sarah Madison, do we see our pets that have passed?
Yes. The pets are never going to desert you or go to a separate place. We are all as one, so the souls of the animals will be with us, you see. It's not separation. And they are very wise souls. They are very advanced. They have no fear of death at all. But they are in a physical, so they have fears and things to overcome in your physical world. And they come here to teach you unconditional love. But unfortunately, not everybody understands the animal and how it is going to forgive you for any wrongdoing. But most of you will love animals during your lifetime and be attentive to them. But they are very wise old souls and with greater knowledge than you could ever give them credit for. But I suspect that some of you will agree with me where that is concerned. But the animals are not segregated from you, no. There is no separation.
Oh, bless. Thank you, Jonathan. I'm going to chuck another question into you about where we're going with our future. Let's talk about humanitarian energy of the earth, what's going on out there in the world at the moment. Are we looking at something that's quite devastating in the future, or are we seeing a turnaround within the events of what's happening at this time?
Well, man is constantly progressing, and because learning and ascending and raising upwards and going forwards is continuum. But there comes a time when, if animals are going to become extinct, then who's to say that man isn't?
Exactly.
You see, man will make man's own self extinct by one's forwardness. You see, technology, so to speak, is a good thing, but there is also a negative side to certain energies that it may give off in the way of electricity use, which is an earthly source. But I will say that with progression comes negativity and positivity alongside of it. It doesn't mean to say that your world is going to end tomorrow and you are going to become extinct tomorrow. What it means to say is, over a period of time, where ascension is concerned, everything needs to move forward and leave the old behind and become the new. So there will come a time in the far future that everybody will be joining home again. It is not to say, well, go home and hide under your blankets, the world's going to end tomorrow. What it is saying is progression and ascension do not require you to stay on this earth for eternity.
Absolutely. But when we look at the energy of what we class as dying, there is no death, is there? It's a continuation.
There is no death. Through one door closing, another opens.
That's it. I mean, guys, what we're trying to tell you from Jonathan here and me with the knowledge of Michael, because I may not be in trance right at this moment, guys, and anyone just watching here, Elaine is in trance and her guide is speaking through her, but my knowledge is always being channeled through me as me with my guide. So I'm a constant knowledge from my guide. Have you worked with Elaine, Jonathan, on different levels on spirituality before in other lives?
I have previously, but not as far as this.
Is that a question that's been asked many times before, or is that quite new to you?
I would say nothing is new to me.
No. But it's weird because I suppose I would like a bit more energy of Michael to come forward and do that energy through me. I know that he does that in a different way, but I suppose it's very different in the way that you guides or energies of spirit come and work with us. Is there something that Michael, my guide, would like to give me directly away from me that you can understand? Does that make sense? That maybe he hasn't given to me.
Well, he hasn't. There's nothing that he hasn't given to you. But I would say that he says, you do believe in me, and I am very proud of you for that.
Oh,
and you know that if I give you something that I mean it, and I'm not going to go back on my word. But there is progression for you. And you're going back out into the public eye. I know that you've been there and done that, but there are journeys abroad. And there are journeys where you will be interviewed again, and there is going to be, yes. Have you heard of your psychic news?
Yes, I have.
You have been in there?
I haven't yet.
Well, you will do.
Well, it's a funny thing, Elaine, because Michael doesn't always give me my stuff. He gives me a feeling of something, but he doesn't actually give it to me directly. I think maybe it's because he makes me work harder for it, if that makes sense. But it's quite interesting because I have always had that feeling from him about new things coming up in the future. I don't always like to tempt fate with asking a direct question from him, but what you actually have given to me from the knowledge of what you understand within that connection of Jonathan to Michael is that that all makes sense to me.
Yes.
Are you okay for another quick question before you have to come away, sir?
I am fine with that, yes.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, we're just going to do another quick question with I keep saying Michael. I do apologise with Jonathan. I'm so used to working with my guide, it's unbelievable. So we're going to do another quick question with Jonathan and just see if we can get another one done. Oh, right, okay, we've got Tina Elliott coming back in. She says, can you tell me where I'm going to be going to be in the future. So where is she going to be in her future?
You know, I will give you one explanation of the past, the future, and the now. Even in the future, you are still going to be in the now. If you are in the now and enjoying the now, then it is appreciating the now that you are in and not worrying about the future, because that will perhaps take care of itself. But I'm not going to be rude or anything like that. But what I will say is every moment that you are in is the now. The now. You can be everywhere else with your consciousness, but your physical is always going to be in that moment. And it's whether or not you are enjoying the moment that you're in, is that you are not worrying so much about the future because you are happy in the present, you see. But obviously, the physical mind is much one of the curiosity, and it will want to know what's going to happen in its future. So in this case, I see that there is going to be a dwelling in another place. There is going to be very much a massive change. There is going to be very much a turn around in spirituality and going to other places where you will start to develop more. But I will say there is a gentleman that is going to come in, and there is going to be sort of an encouragement here of there seems to be an emigrating, you see. And emigrating, you've thought about it, but it's whether or not you want to put your foot in and think, well, shall I? You are going to think about that. You're going to think about this emigration. So life is going to be quite much of a turnaround, which you would least expect at this present time. You would say, I would say, well, you're sitting there thinking, well, that can't be surely. But anything can happen. Anything can come into your life and change it at any given moment.
That's very, very wise words, Jonathan. And, you know, it makes sense to me about where Tina is within her energy, because I actually know Tina quite well. She is a medium and a psychic and a clairvoyant, and she's also a lovely lady that does a lot of paranormal research within that side of things. But movement is very much something that is very much so. Yeah, Jonathan knows, like Michael knows, they know what's going on with your future. They can see what's coming up here and exactly what I know that Michael's already picked up for Tina, Jonathan. So you've actually backed up Michael again with your immense energy of knowledge on the other side. So that's absolutely amazing. Just got a few people going, wise words, thank you. That was from Tina. We've got Zoe again, says, wise words spoken by a true gentleman. It has been an honour and a pleasure. Thank you, Jonathan, very much. We've got Charlotte Pearson saying, thank you, Jonathan. Loads of people coming in saying thank you. So they just want to say goodbye to you. I want to thank you once again, Jonathan, for coming forward and communicating with the public and showing your gracing presence. You're always a thrill to have and a very, very much dedicated soul to the soul of spirit and spreading the message. Once again, I thank you very much. I know that I don't want to hold you up for too long and hold the energy for Elaine there. I know she needs a little rest, so thank you for coming forward today.
You are most welcome, sir, and thank you.
It's been a pleasure. I'm just going to let Jonathan come back away from Elaine for a minute. So, guys, I hope you all understand that it is very draining and very tiring for Elaine to carry Jonathan's energy forward any longer. He will step back away from her now and allow her to have a little bit of a rest. He will always be around. He will always be around, and he will be around her all the time, like Michael is with me. But for them to come in and use our body or our energy to come forward and show themselves takes a hell of a lot of energy. So we'll just let Elaine come back into the energy now, and I'll just stay a little bit quiet while she does that. Okay, we will get back to your questions in a little while, guys. I'm just allowing Elaine to come back into the room. And Jonathan should have left us now. Hi, Elaine, you all right, darling? That was quite an emotional experience. How are you feeling?
Yeah, fine, thanks.
Yeah, okay. Do you want to go? Just going to get Elaine to have a drink of water before I ask her the questions that have just come back into the room. Okay. We just got a few people saying a massive, Hillary Adams, a massive learning curve. Thank you so much. Okay. So they're thanking Jonathan here, Elaine. They are thanking you as well, obviously, because you are his channel, and what a lovely message he brought forward for us today. It was so nice to hear so much more. I don't know if you was aware of the little confirmation he gave about his foot, and he had broke his foot by the horse trampling on his foot, bless his heart, and he did suffer a bit of a limp as well. Oh, bless his heart. So yeah, he didn't have to have a cane or anything, but he had a little bit of a limp. It actually, the horse trod on his foot. Yeah, that must have been quite, quite painful for him. He said it was painful, but he got over it, you know. Yeah. But he's got no pain of it in the afterlife. And he's with his lovely sister Jane as well. Okay, over there. Just want to say, there's quite a few people come forward, so I'm just going to say, there's a lot of people saying he's a very wise man. He's a very incredible guy. We already know that, don't we? There's a lot of people here saying thank you to Jonathan. I know that he will still be listening to you guys out there anyway, so I know that he's definitely around, but still in the energy of the room. I can feel his presence. I felt him since the day, for the moment I picked you up to bring you here. He's an incredibly strong energy. Got people saying goodbye to Jonathan. Just unbelievable. I think there's a lot of people that are taken back by Jonathan's energy coming forward. I think it's quite a shock to a lot of people, isn't it? When people experience trance.
Change, isn't it?
Yeah, I think a lot of people do question a lot of that, and it's understandable to question it because it's not the norm, is it? We don't see people transfiguring all over the place, do we? It's one of them ones, and I have to say to you guys, I've been working with spirit for a long time, and a lot of people have asked me and questioned me about trance mediumship and where things go. If you sat here right now, if you sat in this studio with us right now, and I felt the emotion on every level with Jonathan, and still right at this moment, of where that connection is with him as a person, in a non-physical dimension of where he is within what I'm feeling now as a medium, and you know me, guys, of what I feel within the energy of my work. You cannot doubt that. Anybody that doubts that, then you're either just jealous of the energy of what you do with your work, or you just don't understand it. Simple as that. I can say to you guys, hand on heart, I felt every bit of that. Did you? Every single bit of it. And not because I'm looking at and I'm listening to him coming through you. I can feel his energy and I can see him separating from your energy. So I can actually see him. If you guys ever watched Ghost, yeah, it would be Goldberg. You know when Sandweed comes in and he literally comes in and steps into her energy of older mate Grant. Yeah. You know when she goes, go on, use my body for a minute, but don't whatever. He actually come in and he literally come in and come down and go into your energy, and when he come out, I can see him leaving. And I can actually see him leaving on camera as well. Good job. And it's like you can see the whole form, and then suddenly it's like a light, and he just evaporates. Yeah. It's like he's just coming away from you like that, and just leaving your energy. It's totally incredible. But you've got to be able to see that to believe it. Now that's what I love about seeing spirit around people. But you don't see a spirit enter the body every day. That's a completely different thing. So what I just experienced here in the studio is quite amazing, really, because it's nice to see that, and it's nice to see that connection and feel that connection and love as well. He's an incredibly intelligent man and very, very wise, and it was a pleasure to have him today. I want to thank you. How do you feel right now? Does it drain you right out?
No, I feel quite refreshed, actually.
You feel quite refreshed, you feel good. Okay, before we come away, because we've got about half hour left, we're going to have a quick word in a minute. We'll give you 5 minutes rest. We'll have a quick word with Karen. Because we only gave a short glance with Karen. I know she wants to come forward. She's been chiefly sitting on the sidelines for a little while. Now, if you don't know anything about Karen, let's talk about Karen. Let me find out a little bit about what is Karen, who is she, and what's she all about?
Karen is my twin. She would have been my identical twin in life.
Yeah.
She was born into this life. And unfortunately, back in the 60s, they didn't know anything about babies being born with diabetes. Yeah. And she was taken into, she fell into a coma, which is obviously insulin, insulin. And my dad went to visit her in the hospital, and she was blind and obviously brain damage. But the last word he said to her was "Dada." Or she said to him, sorry, I'm going back to front here. The last word she said to him was "Daddy." And then he said, I left the hospital and I gave this little boy the teddy bear that I took for her. And I thought that just kind of, that's really felt emotional when he said that. I thought, well, poor man, he's already lost one of his children, which is an older sister of mine. Then he loses her.
Oh my God.
And obviously it must have done something to him, broke it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But with me, I apparently, as a baby, kept banging my head against the cot. So my birth mother took me to the doctor and was concerned about that. And he said, that's the way she's dealing with the grief, because that's the only way she knows how, she's a baby. Yeah. And I always thought that one day, I never knew anything about my twin. I kept it quiet. And as I grew older, my older sister came up to me one day and she said, you know, you had a twin. And I was only about 10 when you said that. And I said, I thought there was something missing.
As you do.
And then I thought, wow, I've got a twin. I kind of subconsciously knew that. And but then it wasn't until later life that she started connecting with me in my 30s.
And she just basically just turned up and appeared in your house, did she?
She did, on that tape recorder. It was like, wow. But then my daughter told me, I would see her all the time now. She'd peer around the door, smile at her, and then go through the wall.
But she's got this really cheeky character, isn't she?
Yeah. My son saw her squatting on the floor, and he called me out, and I was upstairs. I've just come back from a circle, so I was supposed to connect with the silver phone. And he said, Mum, and I said, what do you want? And he said, I just seen your twin down there squatting, and I said, yeah, right. He said, I did, don't believe me then. He said, I did. I said, all right, I'll believe you, I can't believe you. And he said, she had your same brown cardigan on that I had on that day. Yeah. But when my daughter saw her, she said she was always in your clothes that you wore on your 38th birthday. And 38 was when I started all the spiritual stuff.
Isn't that strange?
Yeah.
Isn't it strange that she wears the clothes that you... it's really weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why that is? Have you ever found out why that is? Is it just because of the connection of when you started?
Yeah, connection when I started.
It's really weird, that,
I was
isn't it?
showing that to my daughter. My daughter was only probably about 6.
I suppose in some respects, for her, it's a validation to you that she was part of you again.
Yeah.
Within that connection at that time.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And being the twin as well, I mean, twins always have a connection when they're in the physical, they pick up on other people's emotions. So, no doubt that she was going to be a very big connection on the trance for you.
Yeah.
Because she was your twin energy, but she was lost at a very early start.
Well, she used to come into my dad's circle, and my mum's friend, Doreen, used to sit with them for years. She sat with them. And her daughter, Jackie, used to come through, that she lost in an ectopic pregnancy. Yeah. And then my foster mother's daughter, Heather, used to come through. She had an ectopic pregnancy.
Right,
my mother had that. I think Doreen just had something wrong. I don't know what it was. But this, and she was going to call her Heather. So Jackie, Heather, and Carolyn would always get together, and there'd be a little, dynamic duo or trio. And cause all sorts of, paraphernalia in the circle.
So, with Karen, she seems a cheeky little monster. She's got this way about her that is a little bit, you never know what she's going to say or do, I suppose, in some respect. But I can remember meeting Elaine for the first time, and obviously meeting Jonathan for the first time, but I can remember Karen. And I can remember that giggly, sort of very direct energy as well in certain respects, but very lovely, very innocent, but with a cheekiness as well, you know. But there's that side of her you just can't know. You're not going to know what's going to come out from her energy. Do you understand what I mean? But she has got this very laughy, happy-go-lucky, and I love the fact that, you know, obviously she's on the other side and she's coming forward, and she is happy on the other side. And I could see her when we spoke before the show that even though she died at a young age, that she's grown on the other side. So there's spirit energy, her spirit energy is being shown to me as she would be in her like teens.
Well, my dad said when he used to get out of his body, it took four people to get him back one night out of the trance.
Wow.
Because he wanted to stay with them. And he said, I used to go and speak to your brother and sister in spirit. He'd sit with them, talk to them. And he said, your twin was very eloquent, actually.
Yeah.
I said, that's not actually gazed enough. But I said,
well, it's weird though, because I can be shown spirit at certain ages of their life. And even if they passed as a baby, I can see them when they're older as well. I can see them as a child, or see them at different stages of their life.
Yeah.
So I suppose in some respects they grow old as an energy on the other side. Because like we were explaining with Jonathan earlier on, that, you know, there is a continuation. We're evolving, but through different dimensional energies and different realms, as he calls it. But you know, I get it and understand it, because at the end of the day, we're in this very slow vibrational time of energy where things are a lot more speeded up in different time zones. So it's very hard for us human brains to get our concept around it all, if that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, but Karen is amazing, and we've got about 10 minutes, so I'm going to just see if Karen will come forward. We're not going to say that she is. I mean, sometimes you know, we can't expect Elaine. She's just had Jonathan come forward, but Karen would pop in. But hopefully we'll see if we can get it. Karen, are you around anywhere? Let's see if we can get her to come forward. Okay, guys, just going to go quiet for 5 minutes. Just Elaine, just see if we can get Karen in. Are you with us, Karen? Hello. Hello, darling. How you doing? I haven't seen you for a while, Karen. Have you been around while we've been doing the show? and what have you been up to? You've been flying. And who's with you over there? Are you on your own?
Daddy?
Yeah. And who else? Peter. Peter? And who's Peter?
My brother.
Is he your brother?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, bless. How old are you, Karen?
5.
You're 5. She's 5. Did you see Jonathan? Did you see Jonathan earlier on? Did he? Do you like Jonathan?
We go everywhere together.
Do you? He's a nice man, isn't
He is.
he? Does he look after you as well, over there?
Doesn't need to.
Do you look after him? So what have you been doing around Elaine's house? Have you been there recently?
Always. And he doesn't know.
Have you been causing mischief? No, are you sure? Well, it's lovely to have you come forward, Karen. You're a great energy. Have you got have you got anything to say to everybody out there on the world platform at the moment?
Yes, we are real.
You are real.
Mm-hmm.
Of course you are.
I'm real.
You are. Of course you are. And do you know what? Right? You are an amazing young lady. Because you had a very tragic ending, didn't you, towards the end of your life? Yeah. I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to upset you, darling, but you're okay to talk about it? Yeah. Was it quite peaceful for you when you transitioned?
Very.
Was it? Did you meet anybody? Who did you meet up with on the other side?
Nanny.
Nanny, did you? What's Nanny's name? Martha. Oh, bless. And who else was with Nanny Martha?
Vivian.
Vivian?
Nanny Vivian.
So there's loads of people on the other side there waiting for you, wasn't there? Did you see the light? Was it lovely?
It was very nice and warm.
Was it nice and warm? Did you feel like you wanted to go towards it?
Yes, the angels were flying around in it.
Was they?
And they took me in their arms.
And how many angels did you see?
5.
5? There's 5 angels. Were they big angels or little angels? Some big, some small. Are you looking forward to Christmas?
Daddy doesn't have a circle anymore at Christmas. Daddy does.
Oh, but do you enjoy Christmas over on the other side?
Yes. We come and watch you all around in your Christmas.
Do you? Do you? Do you get any presents on the other side? You don't get presents?
Our Christmas is just seeing you happy.
Oh, that's nice. Are you going to make Elaine happy Christmas? and how about Elaine's children? Are you going to make them happy?
One isn't, but the other one's fine. And I try to make her happy.
Oh, bless.
I
Bless
give her
you.
cuddles,
Do you?
but she doesn't know it.
Oh. Are you around them a lot, are you?
Always.
Always. Oh, bless your heart.
Daddy's with me now.
Daddy's with you, is he?
He is here.
Is he sending love to Elaine?
Yes. He said, tell her not to miss me. I am still here for her, and I will help her in every way that I can.
Oh, bless you. Okay, I'll leave that message with Elaine when you go, darling, okay? Oh, you're a good girl. Sometimes. Sometimes, yeah, I can imagine you're up to mischief on the other side, bless your heart.
Water. I like water.
You like water?
Yes.
What, you like swimming in the water?
Yeah.
You like swimming in the water?
Don't flashing people.
Splashing people? What's that, in the puddles?
Water.
Is there lots of puddles on the outside?
I drink water on the
Is there lots of puddles on the other side?
If you want them.
You can have whatever you want, can't you? Oh, that's lucky. So you're lucky. So you can have a big sack of presents if you wanted
If I wanted to, yes,
Well, thank you for coming forward to us, Karen. You're a lovely girl, bless your heart. Would you grace us with your presence again another time? If I ask Elaine back on the show again, would you come and say hello?
Yes.
Oh, thank
Maybe I can put some water on your screen.
Yeah, probably good. It might go bang.
Oh
And then we'll be able to say hello to everybody out there. Do you want to say hello to everybody out there in the world like that?
Yes.
Give them a wave. Are you able to give them a wave through Elaine?
Who's Melanie?
Who's Melanie? I don't know. Who's Melanie? We've got a Melanie out there. All right, look. Does anybody know Melanie? Oh, what about Melanie?
Melanie's got to sort herself out. She's a bit unhappy.
Is she? Do we know Melanie? Do we know who that's for?
There's somebody out there who's got a sister called No, and she's a little bit upset.
Oh, there you go. So is Melanie a bit... if we know who Melanie is, and if you don't, maybe it's for somebody else out there that's not watching, or maybe you're watching back on this at another time, because this will be...
Hello.
Hello, who's this?
Hello.
Hello.
I am very pleased to see you.
That's a shock. Who have we got here? Hello.
Yeah. Don't you know who I am?
Well, it's definitely not Jonathan.
Well, I'm Michael.
Hello, Michael. Is that Michael?
Yes.
Hello, Michael. How are you?
I am very fine, thank you.
And that was a bit of a shock, Michael, coming out of the energy and walking into Elaine's energy. How are you, sir?
Well, I am very fine.
And Michael, I'm a little bit sort of gobsmacked. You've been with me for years, and all of a sudden you're talking to me through Elaine instead of being my ear.
Possible.
It is possible, and I'm quite shocked you're here. Look, guys, I've got to take this. You've taken me back, Michael.
I certainly have.
Michael, we do get up to a lot of mischief, and we've had quite an exciting journey through life. Do you enjoy going through life with me?
I enjoy it very much, and there are plenty of things to do in the future.
What have we got in the future planned, mate?
Well, maybe a little bit of trance is going to come forward, and that is the reason that I have come here.
Do you know what, Michael? Do you remember the times when we served back through life, right the way back into the biblical?
Yes, it was many years ago.
And do you remember them words you gave to me at the time? Do you remember what we talked about?
I talked about bravery and being there for one another.
That's right. Do you remember that for me I had to make a decision
Yes.
within where you were within your life? Oh, bless your heart. Just going to get Elaine just to relax a minute. Well, guys, that's just choked me a little bit. I will finish the show in a minute with Elaine, and we'll just make sure that Elaine comes back in. Just give her a couple of minutes just to come back into the energy. Wasn't expecting Michael to come forward. That's quite interesting. Are you back with us, Elaine, or is there somebody else with us?
I wish to hear you.
Hello, Jonathan. Are you okay, sir? Are you back with us?
Yes.
Jonathan, I wasn't expecting you back, sir, but I'm thankful that you have come back for the end of the show. I just want to thank you yet again for coming forward today. I want to thank you for allowing, I know that was probably part of your energy to allow Michael to come forward as well, so I thank you dearly for that, friend. I know that for Elaine, she must be very tired at the moment. So I thank you again, and thank you from everybody that's watched in today, okay? And hopefully we'll get to speak to you again at some point on the show. Are you happy to come back with us?
I'm very happy to do that.
Bless your heart.
Bless you with some healing.
Oh, thank you very much.
Bless you all.
Thank you, and I'll let you leave us now. Twice. Jonathan's come forward twice. That means a lot, guys. Are you okay, Elaine? Are you back with us, darling? Okay. Okay, guys, we're just going to let Elaine just come back a little bit, and then we'll finish the interview. And just bear with us. It's quite she's had quite a few energies come forward today, Elaine. That's quite exhausting for you, darling. Lovely Karen sends love to you, and Dad says stop worrying and stop. He loves you very dearly. Okay, just want to let you know that he was around. Okay. Also, Michael stepped forward.
Oh. I thought about that for a minute. Oh, just gone.
Michael came in, had a brief energy, and then Jonathan come back in just to finish up. I wasn't expecting Jonathan to come back in again, but I'm so glad he did, because I just want to thank him, because I know that Jonathan is a massive part of your guided energy that comes through you. So he's probably the one that allows a lot of energies to come forward. And he's very wary about what comes forward into your zone. And I thanked him very much for allowing Michael to come forward to say hello to me through you, which was emotional, shocking, but I thank you dearly for that experience. And I don't think anybody else can ever do that. So that was amazing. It's taking me back a little bit. I'm sort of sitting there like, oh my God, I'm emotionally overwhelmed that I've actually got, instead of him talking in my ear here, I've got him talking directly within that voice that I can recognise and understand that's coming through my ear, if that makes sense. But I'm a little bit dumbfounded, you know, and I shouldn't be, because I've been working with this for ages, but the energy in this room at the moment is so overpowering.
It's very strong in here. It's strong when I come in.
I can say to you, it's been an incredible experience for everybody out there, and I know that everybody is tuned in and will be tuning in and watching this again on replay back, will love the experience of what has been showcased today within your work and your connection with Jonathan, Karen, and the energy of spirit as a whole. We haven't even got the chance to touch on your artistry work. Your work is amazing. Guys, all I'm going to say to you is, because we are running out of time, if you get the opportunity to click on Elaine Thorpe's page, befriend her, be part of her journey. She's an amazing lady with an amazing talent on every level. You've just seen only part of what she can do with her work. You haven't even seen anything to do with where the art has been recently. Now, you've been doing the art for a while now. What inspired you?
Well, 2014 it started.
Yeah.
And my guide managed to get somebody to come to my friend's house in the circle, and his name also being Jonathan.
Wow.
Really not. When he came to the house, he wasn't a well man, but he travelled down from up north to be with us. And I invited him to sit in the chair I usually sit in. And he tried to take a few of us down, but he couldn't take all of us. They weren't all ready. But he sat me in front of him and took me into a hypnotised state.
Yeah.
And I found myself going into this other dimension where it's beautiful. It was like an enchanted wood. Mm-hmm. And I had the trees were there. It's like an open plan forest basically, and the grass was green and lush. There were all children playing there, and the trees, the bark was peeling off the trees and showing me their faces, the souls of the trees.
Wow.
And this little girl came, and I don't know who she was, but she took my hand and she said, "Come on, play." And then he said, "We've got to come back now." It felt so real, you know.
Do you think she was something that was connected with your art spiritually? Do you think she was another type of guy?
Could have been.
Could have been.
Yeah, and then I came back, and then later on in the evening he did a regression on 3 of us.
Yeah.
He did one on Pam, my friend, and another person that had joined us, and he did one on me, and he took me back to what seemed like probably Edwardian time. I don't know what it was, but I was a little boy, and I could see a whip. And I'm like that. And so he said, "You're not in that life anymore. You come back into this life." Yeah. So something must have shifted at that point. Anyway, I took no notice, and then I was putting the washing away. I don't know how long it was later after he had been, but there seemed to be a very strong connection between this Jonathan and me. It was like, you know,
that name's a very strong energy.
It is, yeah. And my son, my mother's friend Doreen, her son was Jonathan. Obviously, he's still alive.
I think it's a weird thing, isn't it? Why that name's coming into your zone, even on a physical base, and it means that there's a link to a new project or a new phase.
Brilliant. But anyway, I was going up the stairs, and as you do, taking the washing upstairs, put it away. And in my mind comes, you're going to be doing art. I said, okay, is this my imagination? Where's this come from? I wasn't thinking of it.
Yeah.
And I said, well, how do you suppose I'm going to do that? I'm no good at art. I can draw a bloody matchstick man. And
she can.
I said, we'll help you. I said, we'll help you. And I said, all right then. They said, we want you to gather your bits and pieces together, whatever you feel you draw to. And so I thought, wow, cool, right, I'm going out and get the stuff tomorrow, you know.
Yeah.
I went out and got some card and I started doing these chalks.
Yeah.
And I said to the man in the art shop, if the chalks are coming off, how am I going to get them to stay on the paper? Hairspray. So, okay, fair enough. And I started out with chalks. And then my partner, Frank, he said, why don't you take them to your psychic fair? Or, you know, that one over in Ramsgate they used to have with
Shredder event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, it was Serena, I think.
Serena was playing, yeah.
Over Ramsgate, so I thought, okay, fair enough. I feel a bit embarrassed about taking them over because I didn't know. He said, well, you don't know till you try. And then these people started, they were only on cards. So And I put them on the table, and this man came around and looked, and he said, oh, these draw you in. I said, oh, do they? I said, oh, I've only just started it. And he said, and from there on, it just started to get more and more and more, and I was buying art stuff, and it got like an addiction.
Yeah.
And I felt inspired to do things, and inspired to do holy ones, and so many variations that came through. This is like displaying all the different energies and the different styles of the art that were resonating, and people started to want to buy them. And it was like, so one day they got me up. They said, you've got to get up this morning. You need to do an autumn picture with a tree in it. And autumn colours. So I said, where'd that come from? Okay, I'll do it. And then I painted it and put it on there. And Frank came in the back room and he said, oh, I can see stairs. He said, oh, look, there's stairs. I said, oh, yeah. I said, oh, I'll add them in. And then I did the light at the top. Yeah. So this woman came onto the Facebook. That's mine, she said. My son committed suicide just 8 weeks ago. He hung himself on a tree. And it was the autumn months. Yeah. So anyway, Frank doesn't normally do this, but we started messaging her back.
Yeah.
All these things coming. And I got her son's name, the 2 cousins that carried his funeral box. I got his more or less his age group, and his Daniel. And then after that, Frank started. He said, tell her this, does she know this, that? He got the name of her father and uncle, and I think the uncle was, and it said that he is drinking and connected to buses and things. I thought, wow, that's amazing. He don't want to. I said, where's all this coming from? So I said, can you show me a photo of him, your son? And he was a lovely young man, a lovely, handsome young man. I thought, what a waste, But that art went to her to say that although I
think you're evolving again. There's obviously this new link to the art, the spirit of transitioning you again to something that you're doing.
There's something within me that they want me to do, and I keep striving and striving and striving to get.
Well, maybe the psychic art is another link to the energy of the work. Obviously you're doing these beautiful pictures, and suddenly you may be starting to draw people, and things will happen. I think that the spiritual journey is an endless one, isn't it? We're evolving every day within the way that they want us to connect and communicate. Obviously the trance is a massive area, but the art as well is something to validate, I suppose, as a visionary over the energy of what we're hearing. So maybe there's a link within it, Elaine.
Yeah. It's
but I've got to say to you, guys, if you haven't checked out, I know you've obviously heard of Elaine. If you haven't heard of Elaine, obviously seen her tonight with her trance mediumship. If you haven't looked and seen some of these paintings. I mean, how can people get hold of it? You've got a website, like?
No, I've got a page. I've got my main
You've got a
Facebook page, which is where I advertise my art.
And that's just Elaine Thorpe, is it?
Yeah.
Is that Elaine Thorpe Trance Medium, or is that just Elaine Thorpe?
And there's to connect to the readings and things, there's Messenger, or there's Trance Medium Spiritualist page on there that they can connect to. But all my art is mostly on the main page, you know. So I have got a website, ElaineThorpe.com.
I was going to say, you must have, you're so busy at the moment, you've got to have a website.
I know, my friend started that off, Shane Paul started that.
Where are you next? What events have you got coming up?
The next event is in London, just outside London Bridge, at I think it's the Art Place. It's all on my page. My son has shared it on the page, and it tells you all the details, how to get the tickets, and it's on the 7th of December. So
my granddad's birthday.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, my granddad George's birthday. Yeah. And you've got that coming up. Anything coming up in the new year?
I think there's one in May of next year.
And that's all on the website. Is it all on the website?
No, that's more or less their own event that they do.
Okay, so anything coming up though, you'll have on the Facebook page.
Yeah. My son will sort of do it as we go along. He's starting to get involved a lot more, whereas before he wasn't so much interested, but now he's getting into it.
Well, maybe there's something happening there.
Well,
maybe there's a spiritual opening.
I think so, but my son and my daughter.
How old is he now?
29.
And how old was you when you sort of got again?
I was 38.
There you go, see? It doesn't matter. You know, for me, I was only 6 or 7 years old. But I think the thing is with it, I think it doesn't matter when we open up or when we things start to happen. But obviously there's something happening there. Keep your eyes out, I think, because I've got a funny feeling. Call me psychic. Anyway, listen, it's been amazing. You're an amazing, lovely, talented lady, and just a beautiful soul, just you yourself as a person. I can't thank you enough, and I know that the public have enjoyed every moment of the energy of Jonathan and Karen and Michael coming forward, which was a bit of a shock. But I've got to thank you dearly, because it's very late on a Sunday weekend to pull you out of your lovely home to come in for 2 hours to showcase the energy of Jonathan and your amazing gift. Guys, I've got to thank you for joining us here on this Sunday evening. It's been a great pleasure, and we hope to have Elaine in again some point next year. Elaine, thank you once again. You're an amazing lady, and my heart is right with you on every step of the way with your work. Please come back. We would love to have you back. And next time we can impart a bit more knowledge from Jonathan and see what he's got to say in the future. It's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you very much. I always say this at the end of every show. Remember, guys, you're never alone. There's always somebody there that you can talk to. And that may not always be in the physical. You can talk to them in the non-physical. They are listening to you, even though you may not be able to hear them back. They are listening to you. So don't feel like you have got no one there. It's been a fantastic night. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you once again, Elaine, for joining us, and we will see you again in the very near future. God bless. Take care. Love and light to you guys. Bye-bye. Bye. Wow, you've just got loads of people saying thank you, Elaine. It's been a pleasure.
Lucy Hogg, I know.
There you go.